Welcome back to the channel today. Oh my God, today, what are we doing today? We are predicting the Premier League. Dread from it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same. Last year's was freaking, oh my God, unspeakably bad. But I've actually looked into what I'm going to do this year. I'm not just putting names on places and vibes on vibes. I have reasons for what I'm doing. But before we get into it, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video and comment what you think of my list if you got it this far. All right. Let's get into it. We're gonna by the way, we got this and we got a couple other like star awards that we're gonna give out at the end of this, but we're gonna start from relegated. The three relegated teams. We're gonna work our way from bottom to top. The three relegated teams. It's so easy for me to say Ipswich, Coventry, and Hull City, right? It's so easy for me to say these teams, but when I look at their teams, Hull City for sure is gonna get relegated. It's for me, it's between Coventry and Ipswich Town. Coventry and Ipswich Town are the two hardest for me to decipher between. And if I had to put my money on it, I'm gonna say Ipswich goes down again because they've kind of been we've seen Ipswich once before in the last couple of years and they came up and they went straight back down, and I think that's gonna happen to them again this year. I think the third team that's kind of gonna be in this what's it called? There's gonna be a couple of teams I think that are gonna be in this relegated zone. So I'm gonna just put them there now. Sunderland, Leeds, and I was gonna go Crystal Palace, so I am. These are the five teams that I think are gonna be in relegation zone this season. Also, Coventry. These are the six teams that I think are gonna be in relegation. So if you had to ask me, where's your money going? The reasons for all three. Leeds had a good season. Actually, you know what? I just remembered Leeds signed James Trafford. We're going to put them above. We might put them at 14th. But other than Leeds signing James Trafford, who is a solid at the back, who will save them games, who will not concede and do all this other shit, he will do well. He will do amazingly well. But the biggest issue I have with Leeds is when you look at their midfield and their attack from last season, it hasn't changed much. One, I don't know if Daniel Fark is still the Leeds, what's it called, manager. Let me see. Is it gonna say? Oh, okay, Pero. I guess Fark is still the manager. Doesn't hasn't changed at all as what I can see. But yeah, so Darler's still the manager. They still have Luka Nemecha, Tanaka, Ampadu, what's he called? A couple other players that I recognize, but the biggest difference is that they have James Trafford this season, which, you know, I think will save them from relegation. But outside that, I think it's really hard for me not to put see, I was so gunning on actually putting Leeds down here, but that just changed my whole shtick. I'm gonna put Crystal Palace and I'm gonna put Coventry. It's just so unoriginal because I guarantee you every single predictor has predicted the three that came up to go right back down. But I think the three that are in trouble are Crystal Palace, Sunderland, and Leeds. These three teams. And the reason why is Crystal Palace just won Europe and they're in that stage of they might get complacent. Also, they've lost LaCroix. They've lost Gahey. Listen, you can survive for a season when you lose a player. When you lose a player in January, you can survive for the rest of the season. You can. But when you don't have players from the start, so now they don't have Eze and Olise. You look at their attack. Okay, they still have Mateta. What else do they got going on over there? They switched out Brennan Johnson for Dwight McNeil, who I think Dwight McNeil is not a bad player. He's a good Prem player, but he doesn't rise above that level. So then you have Yeremy Pino, who you're expecting to do well. Okay, what about their midfield? They still have Kamada and Wharton, which solid midfielders. I think Wharton is on the up, but I don't really think that he's a savable guy. I think they might get relegated and he gets bought out from them. And you look at their defense. I don't like their goalkeeper as much. I don't like their defense. Like they have Chris Richards in there, who I think is good, but outside of that, you have Riyadh and who's the new guy they just got? I don't even remember. But overall, the team doesn't look that impressive. They just come from a European high. It's easy to get complacent. They could go low. But I just don't know a single player on Coventry other than Haji Wright. And obviously that's my fault. But even when you're coming from the championship, I should still know some of your players. Okay, so we got 2019, 18, 17, 16, and 15. Number 14, I'm going to put at 14. Oh, this is going to be tough. At 14, I'm going to put Brentford Football Club. I don't know what position they finished in last year, but it was pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. Let me go here. Where did last year's table? Where they finish last year? Oh, they're not going to tell me. They finished ninth last year. So they went from, yeah, 16, they hit 10th, and they finished ninth last year. 14 wins, 11 draws, and 13 losses. And when you look at their squad, right, I don't see any improvements. They still have Kelleher, who's not a bad keeper, still a good keeper. They have Coyote, who I think is good. Aaron Hickey, who I also think is good. They still have Collins, who I think is a solid center back. Rico Henry, who I don't really got nothing for him. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, Janelt, Yarmouk, Milambo, Damsgaard, Otara, Sade, Jaden Anthony. This guy might be new, just Gustavo Nunez. He might be new. Igor Thiago is still there, obviously. Carvalho is still there. Callum Wilson now on the team, which is good. He's not a bad player, but I don't think they're gonna have a good season this year because I think the people on this list that are above them so far, I think all of them are gonna have better seasons. Okay, next tier, 13 to 9. I think this is what I would call mid-table. I think everything above this, if you're not Chelsea, if you're not in the top six, everything above this, you succeeded in your season because you've guaranteed European football. Obviously, for the top six, Champions League is the only qualifiers, but I think even Europa League now and Champions League are they're not like comp, but like if Chelsea, who's been out of the Champions League for how long, finally get into a European competition, it's not the Champions League, but it's the Europa League. It's better than nothing. You know what I mean? It's better than being down here in the 9 to 13, one game a week. That's atrocious. So now we're gonna have to predict this. Aston Villa just won the Europa League, which and they've lost Morgan Rogers. They've lost. I think they might be losing Emi Martinez because they just signed the Japanese goalkeeper Suzuki. So they've lost. They might be losing Emi Martinez, who's a big guy in that dressing room. Onana is out injured, so they only have Buba Kamara. They just lost Yuri Tillmans as well. So the midfield's a little bit shaky in there. They signed Alejandro Garnacho, who can be a hit or a miss. You don't know where they're gonna be. So I have them in this 9 to 13 zone. I have them closer to the top, obviously, but I don't know where they're going to finish. Another team that I have in this 9-13 zone, Bournemouth. Bournemouth have recruited well, but at the same time, Krupi is out for the beginning of the season, which I don't think is going to derail their entire season, but I do think is not going to let them get to the heights that they want. Plus, they have Europe, I'm pretty sure. Did they qualify for Europe last year? I think they did, right? What's their history? Man, I gotta click this shit every time. Man, just showed it to me, bruh. They finished sixth last year, so they qualified for the Europa League. So they're in the Europa League. They have a good enough squad. They have Ryan, who I like, Antonio Silva, who I like. They have that keeper who I like. What's his name? Petrovic. Yeah, Petrovic. I don't mind him at all. Fraser Forster, some good what's it called? Leadership in the locker room. He's been around the Premier League for a while. Antonio Silva, who I really like, Antonio Silva, and Juan Luis Sanchez as well. I think those two guys are going to do crazy. Truffert, he's had a full season. We need Alex Scott to make that next step. Tyler Adams, I think, is a solid player. I think Clivert and Tavernier are both solid for Bournemouth. And then you have Junior Krupi, and then Ryan and Adley and Evan Nilsson. I forgot about Evan Nilsson. So you have a couple of good players there. I just think that they're going to struggle from the Europa League, which is going to take a lot out of them. And then the next team I also have up here is Brighton Hove Albion. I think Brighton Hove Albion, the project is starting to change because when you look at, I don't think they're going to be relegated or they might be. You never know. They might have a terrible, terrible season. But when I look at their team, right, I think the only notable player that they got is Vuskovic. But other than that, the Brighton strategy of recruitment and getting these good players from these teams in areas that nobody really in, and a data-driven football, that I don't know. I feel like a lot of teams are doing that nowadays. And when you got a player like Bart Vergeren, who's the number one for Netherlands, right? Who's a solid enough goalkeeper who you can sell next season probably for a lot of money. And then you have Weifer, you have that other guy, Kadioglu, you have De Kuiper, you have Gross, who's a great leader, Baleba, who's still coming up, only 22, Yassine Asari, you still have Giorgino Rutter, Yankuba Minta, you have some good players in here, but it's not like back in the day when their squad was a treasure trove of talent. You get what I mean? So I'm not gonna say that they're gonna do completely bad, but I do think they're gonna fall off just a little bit. And now I think I have another big one that is gonna surprise people. Ooh, actually, hold on. 6 to 8. I don't know if I want to put all three of these teams in 6 to 8. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think this year our traditional top six is gonna be in the top six this year. I'm pretty sure. But that 7 and 8, I have three teams that are kind of fighting for that 7 and 8 spot. I just don't know which one to put which. But for now, I'm gonna put Newcastle in this middle tier. I think Newcastle are not gonna have a bad season, but I don't think they're gonna have a good season. When I look at their team last year, they finished. Oh yeah, yeah. Last year they finished 12th, which is really really bad. But you can see those years of finishing 4, 7, and 5. That's Eddie Howe. They've lost him. Okay, this is not gonna happen again. This last year was a whole shit. The whole thing was bad. But they've lost Eddie Howe. They've lost Isak, which they've lost last year. But now for real, they're a season removed from Isak, right? Because like when you lose a good player and the next season you struggle, the season after that is really where you're gonna see how Osula steps up, how the other big man, what's his name, Waltamata steps up, but Alanga as well. They've had bad recruitment. They've lost Bruno G. They've lost Tanali. So you're not telling me you've lost two of your starting midfielders, and who have you replaced them with? Let's look at their squad. There's nobody in here that's of note. Livermento and Lewis Hall, they both might be gone. Tiao is a solid center back. So is Dan Burn, but you never know what's going to happen to either one of them. Joe Linton, his days are numbered. He's 30 years old. Sean Stewart, he's not a bad player, but he's only 18 years old. Jacob Ramsey, Joseph Willock, these guys are prem guys now, but to rely on them, also to rely on Lewis Miley, these three guys as their new midfield, I don't know. Then you have Elanga, Jacob Murphy, and Harvey Barnes on the wings. You still have Wisa, Osula, and Waltamata. So you have three good players here. I think three good strikers. I think they should have a system where they run a 4-4-2 somewhat with Barnes on the wing. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough regardless. I don't think they're going to do well this season. That's why I have them kind of in mid-table. I feel like this season is going to be a real big test for Newcastle fans. But also, like I said, I think Newcastle and Sunderland, they might be closer than you think. I'm not even going to lie to you. They might be fighting in position. Um, and then last but not least, my third. I have, obviously, you see three teams out of the top six here. And I think these three teams are going to do well this season. But in order of how well that they're going to do, I'm going to put, this is tough. I don't know why I have so much stock in Everton this year, but I'm going to put Fulham at this pile right here from 9 to 13. And then from 6 to 8, obviously I'm gonna have Everton and what's it called, Forest. We're gonna leave the top six teams by themselves just cause. All right, so let me explain myself. My three sleeper teams this year are Fulham, Forest, and Everton. I like Fulham's strategy this year. They got Gonzalo Garcias, and they also have Arvala Albeloa. He also got the guy Palacios, so they got a real Real Madrid core right there. But then you think, oh, well, they lost Harry Wilson. Did they replace him? And you think, oh, they got Oscar Bob. They have Kevin. They have Iwobi. They still have they got Gonzalo Garcia as their striker. So Raul Jimenez leaving, they've replaced him fine. They still have what's his name on the at left back, Anthony Robinson. They still have the same keeper from last year, I think Bernd Leno. So their squad is pretty much the same. They've only added on to the squad, and they just got this guy Shea Charles from the Championship, who's a former City Academy player. So, bro, Fulham this year it's tough for me not to put them in the 6 to 8. But I just feel like it's gonna be like if I had to, I'd say it's between these two right here. It's between Everton and Fulham, which I don't know who's gonna finish 8 or 9. Which one of them is gonna get Conference League this season? It could be Fulham, it could be Everton. I'm gonna put Fulham there for now. Everton look good. I like the transfer window. I like the David Moyes. I think David Moyes is going to show the world why he's him. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the last couple of years in West Ham, people were hating on him. They were trashing him. They were doing all this and that. But he got them European success, got them their best finishes in the Premier League, but the football wasn't attractive. So they didn't like it. I think this year, especially this year in the league, right after a World Cup year, teams are feeling tired, players are feeling tired. It's going to be a very transitional year. There's like almost half the league has a new starting manager. The longest serving manager is Arsenal's manager, Mikel Arteta. So it's gonna be tough, dude. This year specifically is going to be tough. Um, yeah, I think for a lot of teams. But so far, I think I got the vibe right. I think Everton, I like their recruitment. If you look at where did they finish last year? I want to see real quick. They finished last year in 13th place, right? Back to back 13th, right? They didn't look very impressive at all. But then when you look at the squad, right? Just look at the squad. They still have Jordan Pickford, who's a talented goalkeeper. I think their back line is always going to be solid, but they got this new guy. Did they just get this guy, Adam Asnu? I swear he wasn't here last. Oh, they got him last year. He only played one game. That's crazy work. But I don't mind Adam Asnu, right? When you look, they got Christian Norgard, who I think can be a good player for this team. I think Kieran Dursbury Hall. I think this guy's a good player. And then you think about Brennan Johnson. That's a way better player than Dwight McNeil. I think Brennan Johnson is can play in tough games and score against good opposition. And I also think that he's more versatile than Dwight McNeil. Then you still have Iliman Ndiaye. Dibbling, who wasn't really that good last year, this year can explode. You have Tyreek George, who's looking crazy in preseason. You still have Merlin, right? And then you have Beto and Barry, who two guys who last year relied on heavily. I think this is a sleeper team. I think this is a sleeper team this season. And then on top of that, Nottingham Forest, who nobody is paying attention to whatsoever. You look at their team. Last year they did horrible. They did horrible last year. They finished 16th. Obviously, they just came up from the Premier League, and then you see 16, 17, then they overperform one season and they're back to where they're at, right? You think, oh, well, next year there's no way they're going to overperform. They're going to do exactly the same. But I'm telling you, this year is going to be wide open. When you look at their squad, right? I want you to look at their squad. They got a new manager in Oliver Glasner. That's not something where you look at and think, oh, well, he's just another. This guy has won with Crystal Palace. He's won the FA Cup. He's won the Conference League now, and he's beaten very good opposition with a lot of mid players. You look at their goalkeeper setup. I think Sells is still one of the best keepers. He turns up randomly. Ola Aina, you know how good he is. Savona, who I think is pretty good. They bought Diamande off the window, who I think is amazing. Then you have Morata, Marilla, and Jair Cunha. So that's three solid Brazilian center backs, plus Diamande, who I think is going to be one of might be a breakout star this year. Diamande. I think he's going to get bought out next year by either a big team or the year after that, one or the other. That guy's going to get bought out soon. Nico Williams, good servant. He's not a bad player at all. You still have Sangare over there, who last year was playing well. Nicholas Dominguez, Ryan Yates, these guys all last year were doing well. And then you have Schlager from, I think this is Leipzig, right? Leipzig, this guy Schlaber, yeah, Schlaber came from Leipzig. This guy is a really good player. Like people are not like they're underestimating him. They're like, how are they gonna replace what's his name? They're just gonna have Schlager play there with Sangare. Schlager, Sangare, then what's it called? Morgan Gibbs White ahead of them. People forget that Morgan Gibbs White is still a good player. He didn't get selected for the World Cup last year, but he should have been. You still have James McAtee. Last season didn't do too well. I still have hope in him. I still think he can be a good, decent player in the Premier League. You still have Amari Hutchison. Callum Hudson-Odoi, Awoni, Chris Wood, Igor Jesus. You have so many good players there. I have strong suggestion that I think these two are going to be the two that fall out the pack. I think Aston Villa have lost too many important players and are going to fall this season just slightly. I think Bournemouth are going to suffer from Europa. So I think these are the teams that are going to. I think these three are obviously going to be like the biggest ones. I think Brighton and Newcastle are going to kind of be in mid-table further than these five right here. Now, the top six. We've been yapping for almost 20 minutes. The top six. Okay, this is the hardest to perform. 2 days ago, I had Man City winning the league. I had Man City winning the league, and then we lost the Community Shield, embarrassingly bad. And then on top of that, not only did we lose the Community Shield, we lost Rodri to Barcelona. So we lost our second best player, and we lost the Community Shield, which has a tendency for us to, for me to be like, okay, well we're not winning shit. But like actually, because me thinking that we was gonna win the league is me thinking that we're gonna keep Rodri, and now you're thinking, okay, well Rodri's gone. Who are we gonna replace him with? We have Nico Gonzalez in the squad. We have Kovacic in the squad, which I don't understand why Kovacic is being trusted over Nico G. I just don't like. In the beginning of last year, Nico G was our guy. I'm going too heavily on Man City, but it irks me how little this game time this guy's getting. Like compared to Roger, he's not that good. I get it, but him and Elliot Anderson, I think is a better fit than him and Kovacic. I really do. I do not like Kovacic at all, bro. At all. Okay, this is gonna be the toughest Prem prediction ever. I think people all people are thinking Arsenal are just gonna win the league and they're gonna win it by a landslide because they're already the most stable team. All five of these teams have new managers or somewhat new managers. Have are rebuilding this year. All teams look different, but like I think the big three, I'm gonna put Arsenal, Man United, and City as the big three, I think are going to be the challengers this season. From 4 to 6, I think is going to be Chelsea, Liverpool, and Tottenham. In order to rate them, though, I'm going to put. It's going to be tough because Chelsea are only playing one game a week. So is Tottenham. I think these two teams are going to be tough to play against in the Premier League this season. But I do think these guys are going to be working shit out. So I'm gonna put Tottenham sixth. I'm gonna put Tottenham sixth, and then I'm gonna put Chelsea fifth and Liverpool fourth. I haven't locked in my top three yet, but I have locked that in. Spurs are gonna come in sixth. Then I have Chelsea coming in fifth, Liverpool coming in fourth, and then I think these three are gonna be fighting for the Champions League spot come end of the season, and then these three are gonna be fighting for the Premier League trophy. The biggest issue I have, right, with Arsenal, the biggest issue I have is the attack still doesn't look crazy to me. And I know yesterday they scored 3 goals on us, but I think those are from our mistakes. I feel like when they're really trying, we look bad. I don't like they look so easy. They look like they're playing so well and so easy, but I didn't see them and think, oh my God, these guys are playing us out the park. I just thought, why are we making so many mistakes? I'm like, damn, we need Roger. I hope he doesn't go. But I really had Rodri helping us to win the Premier League. Now I cannot say the same. I can't stand on my guns. Or can I? Or can I? Matter of fact, it's going to be like this. And I'm putting my nutsack on the table. I'm putting my nutsack on this table. It's time to doubt the team. It's time to doubt after one game and we lose one player. Niggas is going to think that I'm going to doubt my team. Hell no. I don't care if I'm delusional. I don't give a fuck. I don't care whatsoever. But this is my final shit. I think the Premier League trophy is coming to Manchester next year. It's coming to Manchester next year. Either Manchester City or Manchester United. I think Arsenal has y'all fooled. I think Arsenal are going to come in third this year. And I think there's going to be a solid title race this year. It's not going to be between who. I think it's going to be between these three teams. Man City, Man United, and Arsenal. On God. You know what the crazy thing is? I truly believe this in my heart. Because when I look at the team, right? Right? When I look at the team, all right, let me go to Man City first, right? Let me just explain why I think Manchester City are going to win the league. I think people are severely underestimating Enzo Maresca. He's the guy who got us the win in the treble season. He's the guy who we didn't just start out the treble season firing on all. Actually, we did. We started off firing on all guns. But if you do remember, Erling Haaland played the first game in the Community Shield, and niggas thought he was going to be a flop, and Darwin Núñez scored, and people thought that he was going to be better. And so they had this whole Erling Haaland versus Darwin Núñez, and that shit was killed after the first half of the season when Haaland had like three hat tricks and Núñez failed to score at all. Don't think I forgot that. That was the year that Enzo was in our fucking coach squad with Pep Guardiola. I remember that shit very well. And then you think, okay, well we lost Rodri, we lost Bernardo Silva, we lost John Stones, we lost Nathan Ake. That's four guys who are like real leadership dressing room guys. That's I get it, but you got to think. Now I look at my team, right? And I look at Donnarumma, right? I look at Donnarumma, who I think people are severely underestimating. I think this guy is one of the best keepers in the world, right? Then you look at Mateus Nunes and Rico Lewis, who I think are going to be two good players for us this season. Our defense, I think, is the best defense in the league. Saliba's out, so now you got to think. We got Diaz, Gehi, Gavardio, Kusanov. That's four solid starting center backs. If Gavardio and Diaz get to their peak, and Gehi also, if these four guys get to their best ability, then you have Vitor Reyes coming off the bench, Juma Ba coming off the bench. It's gonna be scary hours. Then you look at left back. We have Ryan Atnuri and Nico O'Reilly, who I think both can do different things. And you think, okay, well we have Elliot Anderson, we have Kovacic, we have Gonzalez. We're heavily linked to Buati and Enzo Fernandez. So that's two also good players. And then after that, we have Reinierds, who I think is going to be leaving, so we can't count him. We still have Cherky, Foden, Semenyo, Doku, and Marmoush and Holland. Marmoush this year, we don't know. Echeverry, though, Echeverry is also important because I think Echeverry is going to do something different. I think Savinio is gone. I really don't know what we're going to do about Jack Grealish because yesterday, well, I don't know about. But I think our attack is solid. I think our defense is solid. I think our midfield is solid. I think our tactical setup is the only thing that Enzo needs to work on. And I think he's capable of working on it. I think he's capable of working on it, and that's why I have us winning the league. Now, let me explain to you why I think Manchester United are going to come in second or win the league, come in first. Because I have them in the top three and I have them competing for the trophy. And I don't mean that casually. I think Carrick is a coach that people are sleeping on. People are thinking, well, he overperformed. He was just the interim. He was this, he was that. Dude, Carrick knows Manchester United from bottom to top. This dude played his whole career there, damn near, right? And so this dude, he is one of those guys, that like that bleed Manchester. And then he comes into the team. He not only ejects them, but you don't remember he beat us. He beat Arsenal. He beat every big team, right? And he and Manchester United had the most points from as soon as Carrick came to the end of the season. He had the most points. He won the most out of the most games, and he beat tough opposition. That listen, if you steady the ship and you do your job, it's applauded. But when you overdo your job and you not only steady the ship but get them Champions League, finish in the top three comfortably, and also beat top opposition when we're both trying to win the league, Man City and Arsenal. When we're both trying to win the league, that is impressive. Then you look at their team, you think, okay, they're only missing a few pieces, which they can get. They have Michael Carrick, Sen Lamens, who I think is an upcoming goalkeeper. I think this year he's gonna slowly show that he's still good. You have Diego Dalot and Masraoui, two right backs who can play left back, which they're both to me. I don't think they're anything great, but I think they're solid enough that you can win the league with them on the flanks. Then you have Mateus de Ligt, Maguire, and Martinez, who I think all three of these guys are starting center backs. Then you have what's called Euro and Heaven, who are two young guys coming into the team, who I think are going to be real important this season. Luke Shaw, obviously, you're going to need another left back. I'm not going to lie to you. But then you look at your midfield, which for some reason people are forgetting that Ugarte's on the team and he's going to come back, but he's out for the season. But like they need to get a DM that's kind of like Ugarte's position this season. They need to. Andre Santos, Yuri Tillemans are, oh my God, unbelievable business. unbelievable business. Santos and Tielemans and Mainu, those three guys are gonna be crazy in the midfield. And then you think Bruno Fernandes, you think Mason Mount, who I think can still do something at Manchester United. I don't think he's completely dog shit, but I still think he can do something. And then now we're getting to the best part of their fucking team, their attack. I'm gonna add Bruno into this attack, by the way, because he's the best chance creator in the Prem now. You know, he's the best. He can win the assist record this season. This guy might go stupid. Then you think, okay, who does he have next to him? He has Brian Mbeumo, solid, solid player. Amad Diallo, another solid player. Patrick Dorgu, another solid player. Marcus Rashford coming back. It feels like a new signing. Mateus Cunha, Benjamin Sesko. This is an attack worth to be scared of. Because when I think about it, I'm thinking Cunha up top, Rashford on the left, Buemo on the right, and then Bruno under them. And then imagine those four playing together. And then you have Ahmad coming off the bench. You have Dorgu coming off the bench. You have Xerxes coming off the bench. Sesko coming off the bench. That's going to be a scary attack. I think the biggest thing about Arsenal, that the reason why I don't think they're going to win the league is because I don't think that their squad is, I say, I think that they're going to have two things down this season. They're not going to play bad football like they did last year. I think the biggest issue with Arsenal for me is I don't I don't fear them. Like I don't know how to explain it. I don't fear Arsenal. If I feared Arsenal, I would have put them first and then forget it. It's not that the fact that they didn't play well last year. I like the signings that they've done, but I still think that just because they made good signings, just because they still have one of the best squad depths in the league and a coach and a great defensive mindset, I still don't believe that. Like last year, I don't think was a fluke, but I don't feel like they were overwhelmingly the favorites, like better than everyone. I just feel like they were so solid defensively that they stressed out games and they got a goal and they never conceded. I feel like nowadays people know Arsenal strategy, and so they're going to be able to play it better. You know what I mean? Even the worst teams in the league. Like if you know that this team is strong defensively and is great on certain sides of the field, like their right winger is obviously going to be the strongest outlet. The striker is always going to get in goals. You got to worry about the corners. And nowadays, you got to remember the corners are different. You can't manhandle nobody on the corners no more. And so they can't be grabbing all over the goalkeeper. Nope, they're gonna have to run around so their set piece goals are gone. Me personally, that's what I think. I still think they have some good set piece takers, but they still have a goalkeeper who I think is gonna keep them in the title race, David Raya. You think, oh, Mosquera's not bad. He's gonna hold down the position for Saliba. It's not the same. Saliba is one of one. Saliba is top five center backs in the world. In the world. That's how good he is. I think Gabriel is top 10. I'm not going to say he's top 5, but he's top 10, and he's still important. He's still important to that back line. I still think they don't have enough attacking power on the right-hand side, that right back side. Timber and White aren't good enough offensively. Mascara, I still think he still needs some more. Hincapié, I don't mind him. I think Calafiori and Lewis Skelly are gonna do good this season. I have Lewis Skelly winning an award. Declan Rice, Odegaard, Marino, Bruno G, Martin Zubimendi, Eberiche Eze, Ethan Nwaneri, unbelievable midfield. Their midfield is by far I think up there is one of the best midfields in the league. You're talking about Declan Rice, Zubimendi, and Guimaraes, who you can play two of them in a double pivot and then have an attacking midfielder. Picking the two, you could Bruno G and Declan Rice, and then having like let's say somebody like Eze above them, crazy, crazy work, crazy, or Marino above them, crazy work. They have a good midfield this season, but then you go to the attack and it's the same thing from last year. Bukayo Saka, Nani Madueke, Madueke is inconsistent, so is Saka. Dalman, he's still young. Martinelli inconsistent. Zolis a new silent. I don't know why they still have Reece Nelson or Jesus. And then Gyökeres and Havertz, who I think are both decent players, but I don't think are going to move the needle that much. It's just, I feel like their team, other than their midfield, hasn't improved. I feel like their defense have gotten worse, their attack is the same, and their midfield has improved. So I feel like they'll be more exciting to watch nowadays because their midfield is going to be better, and I feel like they'll be able to control a lot more games. I don't feel like they'll be more defensive than last year. They're going to slide to get. They're going to be a more enjoying team to watch this year, but I still don't think they have good enough talent to win the league. I think it's going to come to Manchester, and this is my final ranking for Premier League. I've locked it in. Finally, after 35 minutes, we're going to go into the awards. Award winner number one, top goal scorer, is going to be Erling Haaland. This is a no-brainer. Come on, folks. This is a no-brainer. This is simply so easy. I don't even have to go. Assist winner was tough for me, but when I looked at the attack that Manchester United have, and I look at this guy right here, I think he's going to do numbers again this season. I don't think he's going to hit double-double. He might hit cheeky 16, 17 assists. I'm not going to lie to you. I still believe that Bruno can do crazy this year. Breakout star Abdulkadir Kusanov. I think people forget that this guy's 22 years old. He's 22. I think he's going to become the main center back of Manchester City this season. I'm looking at it and I like Diaz and I think he's captain material and I like Gahey, but like this guy makes me feel safe. You know, the thing about defenders is how safe can you make me feel? When Ederson was in the goal, I swear to you, I never felt safe. When Donnarumma's in goal, I feel safe. Now I kind of feel like he'll make a mistake, but I feel safe. When Kusanov is playing, I feel safe. I feel safe in my heart because this guy's pace, this guy's relentlessness, this guy's ability to tackle, all this shit, it just makes me feel safe. And that's why I think he's going to be breakout star. He might even be young player. I'm not sure what the young player what's the age, what's it called? What's the age deadline, I guess? The cutoff is 23 years old or under. He's 22 years old. This guy can win it because I think he can become one of the best center backs in the league next year. Next up, young player, somebody who's gonna, I think, compete against what's his name, Abdulkadir Kuzanov, and this is Miles Lewis Skelly. Miles Lewis Skelly has the thing of actually playing midfield and left back. He can play both of those positions for Arsenal, and I think that's going to be great because sometimes Calafiori, maybe he's going to not play as much. You know, maybe Hincapié, Calafiori, they'll be used as a center back instead of a left back. But yeah, when I look at Lewis Kelly, I think this guy, and then you look at the team that he has around him, he has a lot of good enough players around him that he can shine. You know what I mean? Like when you're a young player and maybe you're the guy that everybody has to rely on, it's tougher than when you have people that they rely on and then you can just come around with some brilliance. Like that pass that he made to Calafiori for the first goal. Brilliance. Brilliance. And the way that he snuck off of him, brilliant. Brilliant. That's why I have him. I think he's going to make a big leap this season. And I think last year was Nico O'Reilly's. This year he's going to show that, hey, it's my time to shine. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Holy shit, I took forever. But goodness gracious, man. Goodness freaking gracious. I'm standing on it. I'm standing on it. This is tough for me to stand on. And I know I might get clowned in the comments, but I don't care. This is what I truly believe. And I think this is going to happen. I think this year is a hard year to predict because there's no team that's like a guaranteed, like, oh my God, this team's going to knock you out the park. I don't think there's a guaranteed team like that, one. Two, I think that this year is the easiest to predict in the Premier League based on vibe because a lot of the vibes of teams look terrible. I'm not gonna lie to you, but overall, that's it. I'm yapping. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, make sure you like the video down below, subscribe to the channel, and